Product management reviews are back. Welcome aboard, leaguers. I'm so happy to have you here with us to discuss product management CVs and resumes with 3 product league mentors joining me on this stage in just a second to review 6 different product management resumes. So different people in different places in the world with different titles submitted their actual CVs, and we are going to review them. So I hope that you are ready. By the way, nice to meet you. My name is Moriya Kassis. I'm the founder and general manager of Product League, and we are here to support you in becoming the best product manager you can be. Product League is an international mentoring program for product managers by product managers in 30 countries around the world, and I want to get to know you better. So please go ahead and in the chat, let me know who you are, where you're from, and what is your biggest challenge when we're discussing CVs and resumes for product management openings. I hope that you're ready. We're starting in just a few, but before that, please go ahead and show us some product love. Hit the like button here, whatever it is that you watch us right now, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Show us some product love, and let's get this product party started. Please shout out a big hello to Oshrit Yaron from Israel, Senior Product Business Manager and Product League Mentor. Hello.
Hey, Moriya. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here with us, Oshrit. How are you today?
I'm good. Very excited to be here.
Very excited to have you here as well. What do you say? Shall we bring Nadav on our stage?
Please do.
Let's do that. God save the king. Please welcome Nadav Mordechai from London, United Kingdom, Director for Product and Strategy at Elsewhere and Product League Mentor. We finally have you on our floor. Finally.
Thank you, Moriya. Such an incredible energy. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. And let's do some product management reviews, CVs reviews, London style, shall we?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. And now it's time to bring Gilad to our stage. And get ready to learn from Gilad Turbahn from California, United States, product management leader and product league mentor. What's up? Hello.
Ooh, I at some point on one of these, I'm gonna have to try and outmatch your enthusiasm. I'll go like,
I think you're doing just fine.
Yeah, no, but I'm ready. I'm ready, and I'm happy, and this is awesome.
This is fantastic. So happy to have you here with us. Gilad is back.
Gilad
is back to our floor. So happy and excited. And it's a wonderful opportunity to learn from all of you mentors, 3 of you. So what do you say, Gilad? Shall we bring Nadav and Oshrit back to the orange floor?
Yes, please.
Let's do that. Oshrit, Nadav, hello. Like the spirit, Oshrit, spot on. And this is fantastic because we're going to discuss one of the biggest challenges out there when you try to nail an interview, like get someone noticed your CV and being impressed by your resume and do it the right way, product manager's way. And we're going to discuss this today. We're going, with your help, to review 6 different resumes, which is amazing. We're going to state 10 commandments for product managers to follow when we discuss product management CVs and resume, and it's going to be a not to miss event and webinar to everyone out there that is watching. Now, before we're starting, let's see who we've got here in the audience. Joining us, we have Anna joining us, saying product manager position in each company has different roles and responsibilities, and this is why it's her challenge. We have Nitzan joining us from Israel. We have Nir from Haifa, Ella from Armenia, Audrey from Germany, Barak from Tel Aviv, Eran from Nesiana, Israel, Maya from Israel. We also have Shelvari. I apologize in advance if I pronounce your name incorrectly, from Bangalore, Anna from Denver, Colorado, Babu is joining us from New Jersey, and so many leaguers are here in the audience, and it's fantastic to see all of you here. So please keep the comments coming. Let us get to know you better, and let us know what is on your mind and in heart when it comes to writing the best CV your best product management CV out there. Now it's time to discuss commandments, what we like to call the 10 commandments of product management CVs and resume. We are going to give you the 10 tips and tricks that we think that you have to follow when we're talking about CVs and resume. And I'm going to start with one of my own. And this one is about the fact that you can claim to have a know-how and then to do the exact opposite when it comes to your CV, right? If you claim to be a UX master, then you can't write a CV where my eye doesn't know where to go to and how to follow your CV when I'm reading it. If you claim to be a storytelling person, well, let me know who you are. So your CV is a visual and representation summary of your skills and know-how. Make sure to match the skill that you claim to have with the CV that you actually submit to us for review. Now it's time to review and to have more commandments. And Nadav, I know you have some commandments of your own to share with us.
I have three. Should we start with the first one? So the first one from me is about telling a story. And the point is that your CV is a really simple way to tell me what you've done until that point in your career and actually share a bit more about what you're planning to do and what trajectory are you aiming at. And that is the big thing for me. Tell me something. Could be 2 or 3 sentences that kind of picture, kind of frames the whole thing. That is my first commandment. And the second one is about clear signposting. I want you, as the writer, to guide me through your CV. Guide me, drag my attention to what is important, the elements, the KPIs that you want me to focus on, where really you have succeeded. And so many CV writers, applicants are just not doing that. It's a whole blurb of text. And then lastly, my third one is about showing your personality. Everyone talks about how they nail the product aspects, but there's a whole well-rounded person behind that CV. Give me a bit more. I have good examples of people who actually told me that they are part of a mountaineering team, or they have something with learning Korean, and that's a really good hook to drag me into your profile and keep me interested and continue that conversation with you. So these are my top 3.
Yeah, you can actually imagine yourself having pizza with a person because now there is a personality attached to the CV. Fantastic.
Then we have a really good starting point, something to talk about. I am definitely gonna ask, why did you write your name in Korean on your CV in the UK if you're not Korean?
Yeah, that's correct. Fantastic 3. Thank you so much, Nadav and Oshrit. What do you say?
Yeah, bring it on. I'll go with my 3. Yeah. So the first one is really to focus on what you were able to achieve and not just what was your duty, what was your responsibilities during the job, because most product managers have more or less the same responsibilities in their day-to-day job. I want to know what you were able to achieve, and measurable ones. I mean, put number to it. Say what was your impact? How did you increase the revenue, change the number of users on the system, or whatever achievement you were able to make during your time? This is what I want to hear, not that you managed the roadmap or worked with development. I know that you did that, but what was the outcome of that? So this was the first one. The second one is not related only to the resume itself or the CV doc itself, but your actual presence in social media and specifically on LinkedIn. During my job interviews with others, I saw some people having one resume on doc, and then in LinkedIn there was completely different story. And I said, okay, so what is the truth? where were you? Is that, should I look for this one or for this one? So it doesn't have to be exactly the same. It doesn't have to be copy paste, but it does have to have synchronization between the two, no conflict between the two. Otherwise, it will definitely hurt the credibility of the person that I'm looking at.
Absolutely, and I think everyone here agrees with you, including Gilad. It has
there's nothing worse than seeing a resume that says they've been at company X from June 2012 to May 2015, and then the LinkedIn to say it was actually until July 2013. That is horrendous. However, here's where you are allowed to have differences. If you want to add links, if you want to have a little more information on LinkedIn, if you have previous roles that you had in the past that you don't have enough space to highlight on your resume, but you do want to put it on LinkedIn, 100% put it on there, because that LinkedIn, think of LinkedIn as a intelligent search engine to find more information about you, as opposed to your resume, which is the representation of the most concise thing about yourself that you bring to the table. They're slightly different. Yes, you can't have conflicting information, but you can have different pieces of information showing up.
Yeah, we should just think of this as two different products that we use in different way, because these are two different products that aim to do different things. Fantastic. Oshrit, I love how everyone nodded with their heads when you just shared this commandment with us, which is the best way to bring the third commandment to the audience.
The third one is regarding the about paragraph or the first paragraph of your resume. I do like that when people put a short paragraph at the beginning. I think it's like the beginning of the story. Do I want to read more? If you say what is unique value there, then I would want to read more. It doesn't need to be a summary of the rest of the document, but it does need to say, why should I hire you? And it should be about who you are from the work perspective, right? Why should I keep reading this resume and find there is a supportive narrative that say whatever you wanted to say at the beginning. So this should be a very important part of your resume, and you need to dedicate time to craft it correctly.
Absolutely. Wise words, Oshrit. Nadav, Gilad, do you want to add anything on this part, on the summary part? Because this is an interesting challenge. I'll take it as a yes, Gilad.
I've now seen resumes with a summary, without a summary, with short summary, long summary, mid-size summary with all your achievements. What do you want for your next role? I've seen it all. Here's what I will say. Make sure that your summary actually either represents who you are or what you can bring to the table. The fact that you're passionate is great. That'll come across in the interview. That doesn't help me when I read your resume in 15 seconds and trying to understand something about you. I need to know as the interviewer that you have been successful and you have a track record of success, and what can you bring to the table that's relevant to me. If you capture those in the summary, you can do it in any of the formats that exist, and that'll work. But don't give me fluff. That ain't helping. That's going to make it worse.
We agree.
Absolutely. Well, you're already holding the virtual mic, Gilad, so your 3 commandments are coming now.
Sounds good to me. All right. Where is my commandment? I want my commandment. Okay, so tailoring the skills. Look, companies are looking for you to show that you're successful, and they cannot understand it from your resume if you don't use terminology that people actually know in the industry. If you're using acronyms from your own company, if you're using terms that nobody in the industry understands, that ain't going to come across. That nobody will understand it. They'll just skip that line altogether. Again, the time that it takes people to read resumes is very short, or it might be a long time to read them, but they're not investing the long time. They're just skimming. So you want things that everybody understands and don't need to read. I'll give an example from my own resume. I worked on a system called a CLM system. a contract lifecycle management system. For people to understand what that is, I had to put a short blurb describing what's a CLM, such that after that, when they see in my sentences I'm saying CLM, they can go back, they know exactly what it is. So if you are using a term, make sure it's very well defined. But if you're try to use as many industry standard things such that you don't need to define a lot of stuff.
May I add on your point? Because
Of
it's a really
course.
strong one. I agree with everything you mentioned, and I actually want to make your argument here even stronger, because here's the thing. It's not always that we hiring managers have the opportunity to read all the CVs that are being submitted for the role. Sometimes we ask human resources or other parts of the company to assist us in reading the CVs. So it's not only that, it's not about, just writing all the acronyms that comes to your mind. It's also about making sure that a person who is now following a list of credential or experiences or something that is very defined for the role and is not a product professional person will understand how to better vouch your skills and your experience for the job.
Agreed.
And I want to add something else, Moriya. Not only to make sure that everyone understand what you're talking about, but also if you work in a company that nobody knows what it's. If you work for Meta or you work for Microsoft, go ahead, don't mention what it is. But if you work for a company or a startup that nobody knows what it does, put a line saying, this is their product, this is what they do, just for people to understand what were you doing, what is it B2B? Is it B2C? What was the purpose of the product? Just for people to understand your resume.
Spot on. Thank you very much, Oshrit, for mentioning that. And Gilad, now it's time for commandment number 2.
All right. This is all about transferability of skills. As we said, at the end of the day, I don't care about, well, I do. You're a nice person. Or the people who are the interviewees are nice people. So I care about them being cool people. But I don't care that they've been successful at company X. I care about them going to be successful at my company. And therefore, we must show skills on the resume that are going to be relevant for this brand new company, such that I can say I can recreate or build on top of what I've already done and do it for you guys just as well. So the skills have to be transferable.
Spot on. Thank you very much.
All right, last one. So there is a tendency, especially in the last couple of years, to only talk about results. Now, results are important. They have to be there on the resume. But you cannot just do, so there's a format in American business schools. It's called SAR or STAR or whatever you want to call it. Situation, action, result. That's how many resumes are built. Now, it's not a SIR. It's not a situation result. The action is important. You cannot just tell me that the situation was we needed a redesign and that we now have 20% more customers. What specifically did you do in order to make this happen? Did you rejigger the roadmap? Did you redesign the actual product yourself? Did you collaborate cross-functionally with other teams in order to get buy-in such that the action is important, because that's the thing you're actually going to bring to the table, not just the results from the previous companies.
And also because it cannot claim to have a fact over the whole company and to take ownership over the whole success of the company. Let's get real here. You just can't. Fantastic. I love these 10 commandments. I think this is the right set of commandments for our audience, for our leaders to follow when they write their next CV. But we're not stopping here, because we're going to review actual CVs. And we're going to start with one in just a second. But before that, I want to remind everyone, the purpose of these sessions is only for the sole purpose of knowledge sharing. Everything that may identify the person who stands behind the CV was removed and erased, and you cannot know who the person is. And because we are focusing on the knowledge sharing and not on the person behind that. So even with your comments, amazing leaguers in the audience, please go ahead and tell us what you think about the CVs. But let's be nice and let's respect the people who stands behind the CVs, and the people that were brave enough to submit their CVs to be reviewed by the team here. And let's be respectful towards everyone. We're starting with the first CV. This one is right now on the screen. This person is looking for the title of product manager. And Oshrit, I know you have something to share with us.
I think it's me, actually. Or is it?
No, it's not the right
It's
one.
not mine.
No. So, okay, this is product management 101. Everything
No.
that may be different.
I can go first. Up to you. I can do whatever you want, Moriya.
I'm sure you can. Okay, give me 1 second because
Sure.
I think we got it right now. How about now?
Yeah. This is
So
mine.
now the floor is yours. Oshrit, go
Okay,
ahead.
Can you
And
just
Gilad, get ready. Get ready.
Muhahaha.
can you show more from the page? I want to say something in general
Of
about
course.
this.
So I'm going to scroll over the page just so we get a better understanding of the fact that this one
Yeah.
has 2 pages to it. Okay. The
Correct.
first one is about the person, the profile, and some experience and personal details. More experience and certifications and education in the second page. And now, Oshrit, tell us more.
Great. So what I wanted to say for start is this one is probably a junior product manager. The first position here is from 2018. So like 5 years of experience, not a lot. Not all of them in product management. And still we have here 2 pages of resume, which is quite long. I was quite surprised that it has that long story for 5 years. I don't think people are able to do that much in 5 years. I mean, even the most achievable one and the most star ones not doing that much in 5 years. So I would first of all focus in one page. I would start with that. Another thing that I want to say about the structure or the visual is there is, if you enlarge it a little, Moriya, there is a sidebar of skills and tools on the right. I personally don't like this structure. I know that there are people that are good with that. When I look at this page, my eyes go automatically to the sidebar to see what's on the side. And this is skills that every product manager should have. And I don't think that's the most important thing that you should put on your resume. You need to put the specific thing that you were able to do, to tell me the story about yourself, and not just like generic skill that a lot of product managers have. So I don't like it. If I put the skills and I know that there are some machine learning tools that read the resume and you need to put the skill, then I would put it at the end. Skills and tool would be at the end. Tools can be changed, skills can be achieved. I don't like it to be in the focus at the beginning of the document. So this is like from the structure and visibility. Regarding did anyone want to add something? No, okay. So regarding the experience itself, so there are several paragraphs here. The main product manager position is the last one, the one that appears on the top, as it should be. And this is actually from the beginning of 2022, so it's like approximately 2 years. And this is most of the product management work was done. And you do have some numbers here. So there is achieved a significant 40% reduction in development time. And we're talking about tool for developers. So it is meaningful to have reduction in development time. I would expect to see more results here. It's more like I led the end-to-end development of a core banking system. By the way, we are product manager. We don't lead end-to-end development. We are not R&D or VP R&D, but that's okay. We can argue about how you pronounce it or how you say it.
We shall argue about that. That's that's a worth spending time point to say.
Yeah. It looked like, are you the VP R&D? Were you responsible for the development? This is not what I'm looking for. So it was like, okay, it was confusing for me to use this word. And if you go down, you can see he did a product owner, part-time job. It was a freelance or associate product owner, sorry, not a freelance. And then if you go down more to the beginning or to the end, there is a full paragraph about what he did, or he or she did as a financial analyst, which is, I assume this is where they're coming from. So he started as financial analyst. This is also, if you see the education, this is where this person come from. But do I need to put a full paragraph about it here if I want to apply to product management position? I can mention that. So you'll know that I started here. I can put a bullet about it, but I wouldn't spend all this place in the resume to describe what he did as a financial analyst. I don't care what you did as a financial analyst. If you go down, you can see that there is also a paragraph regarding what he learned in the course during his Master of Management in Finance. A list of courses, maybe some of them relevant for product management, but it all seems to have, I don't have enough experience in product management, so I put something else. I don't know if that's the best approach here.
Where the person, as you stated before, already placed their work experience over 2 pages. So it's not like they didn't have enough to fill in one page. They chose to fill in 2 pages, and then they included some information that may not be relevant. What I love about what you said is that there is actually like a hidden opportunity here. Don't tell me that you were an analyst. Choose specific parts, narrow down to the specific elements of your work as an analyst that may now come as an advantage as a product manager. This is where I will be excited about reading that. But as you mentioned, when you're just telling me what you did there, well, you're not going to be an analyst no more, hopefully. So why shall we read it?
Exactly. So, what is the added values that you bring to the table from being a financial analyst, but not what you did at this, because you're not applying for a financial analyst job or position.
Maybe an alternative. Can I suggest an alternative view of that?
Of course, it's why you're here. This is why we
this person is actually quite junior, and I think, Oshrit, you called it out immediately. And also, by the look of things, right, they may be applying to roles within the financial services space, right? So they have worked on a core banking app. They're not very senior. Maybe there's a case there that if they are actually going into a role within financial services, having that direct experience as an analyst could play to their advantage. I would imagine that could be one potential reason why they would include that. Also, thinking about transferable skills, maybe that plays a little bit towards the potential sort of BA kind of skills, right? Can this person write proper user stories? If they go into financial environments, that might be desirable, actually. And quite simply, that could give them that advantage of they're not just good product people, but they also have good control, kind of good knowledge of the domain.
I love what you said. But I want to build on that. because I think then that, going back to the 10 commandments that you guys shared with us earlier, this story around this CV should be, I am your next fintech product manager.
Exactly.
If that was the story behind this CV, then this person nailed it. But because of this gap of I'm looking for just, the generic domain of product management as my next position, and then here is my background, this gap between the two, this is, we kind of like lost the person.
Exactly.
Yeah. So interesting point, because the profile, or kind of the two, Gilad, it's just kind of 2 sentences on that.
No, go.
The top line profile, Oshrit, I'm not sure if you've commented on that. It's quite
not yet, but go ahead.
but I mean, it's quite generic, and maybe the story could be tied up there and explaining that move from financial services, the analyst role into product. And like you said, Moriya, that could be an amazing win if they go into fintech. Fantastic.
Exactly. I love your point, Nadav. Yes, Gilad.
You literally pulled the words out of my mouth. I was about to tell Moriya to scroll up to the profile because I wanted to see the summary.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, we all think alike. I think this is where we should see it, right? If you want, this is where we should see it. This is where you should say, I have an added value because I'm coming from financial. Yeah,
exactly. 100%. And by the way, look at the last sentence on that one. This is what we talked about before. An analytical thinker who works collaboratively to get the job done. What does that sentence mean? As in, so I would hire you because you're not an analytical thinker, or because you don't know how to work collaboratively, or you don't know how to get the job done. As in, that's an assumption. Yeah. Assume that you have those skills. Tell me what you have that is not just that. What differentiates you? What makes you so suitable for this job that I absolutely have to talk to you?
And is your unique point of value, because this sentence can be written by everyone, but you're going to include some information there that it's only you and a few more people in the world that can write it on their resume. I love that. I love that, Gilad. Thank you. Oshrit, less words about this CV?
I'm good. I think I've said enough about this one.
This is good, but it's never enough, because now it's about another CV, Gilad. I hope that you're ready, because it's time to discuss this one.
All right. First thing first, let us zoom out all the way. Oh,
you said other way.
Okay, fine. All right. You'd be surprised, but this is how a lot of people actually read resumes. This way, and not the zoomed in way. And the reason they want to do it is because they want to see if you're rambling on, or do I have a 1-page resume or a 14-page resume or whatever. So let's start here. Good news. It's a 1-page resume. Now I know that everything is relatively concise. I can jump down really quickly and see where the person went to school if I want to see the education piece. I see a little bit of personal interests. We can talk about formatting in a second. We will. But at least I know, oh, okay, so they got a couple of certificates. They have international business development, MA, wonderful. And then if I go all the way up to the top, then I can start seeing the relevant work experience and some summary, some tools. Great. Now, here's the thing that does stand out. So I hope we can see it on this screen at this level of zoom. We do need to zoom out a little bit for it. When I said we're looking, okay, this is good enough. When I said we're looking at the resume at a full page glance, one of the things that jumped out at me is, ooh, this person has skipped around a lot, right? If you look at the timelines, you'll see March 21st to February 22nd, that's less than a year. December 19th through June, that's less than a year. June 19th to November 19th, that's less than a year, et cetera, et cetera. Which makes me ask the question as the person on the other side, the person who reads this, are they going to stick around are they good enough to stick around? Now, the real point here is this is reality. Whether you like it or not, this is reality because this person has skipped around. The question is, how do you answer that question? How do you come to the interview prepared to tell your story? Why did you make those moves? If those make sense and you're prepared to answer, that makes a little more sense. And then what you're trying to do, and this is about career building just as much, you probably want to have on your resume the next role being one that you're actually in for a relatively long time to show that you can have tenure at a spot that's a good fit for you. So that's something to think about. Even in the talk track, I would try and talk about, I'm looking for a place where I can be there for a long time and really grow with the company and have that as part of the talk track to counteract the potential negative side effect of short tenures in places. Now, another thing that we see from this level, now granted, these are hidden right now, but the thing that is hidden are the names of the companies. Most people, at least in the US, don't actually read your title first. They read the name of the company first. They care whether you worked at a Meta, a Google, a whatever, or whether you just worked at startups, and whether it's a known name, not a known name, etc. Right now, even though it's hidden, it's actually buried. I need to go into the middle of the sentence in order to see where it's really at and what company was that. This should be the upfront and center. As in, if I glance through your resume, I see, okay, so they went to work at Meta. They did a couple of startups I don't know, and they got their MBA from this school and their BA from that school. Okay, I have an understanding of where they were at. Now I'll look for the results, but it's a starting point. Let's talk a little bit about the specifics. So let us zoom in, if that's okay, on the very first role for 1 second. I know I'm not touching on the summary. We can. Let me focus, though, on the first role. I want to dive deeper into that. So if you look at this specific one, the first thing that stands out is words. If I look at it, if I glance at it, I have no idea what the results were. None whatsoever. That's because there are no numbers that pop out at me. And if I read just the ending of the sentences or the beginning, so leading the product lifecycle, iterative feature development, exploiting advancements, areas in personalization, I'm not seeing what that person actually achieved. Okay, they did work. What does that mean? What does it tell me about their ability to bring success to my company? Again, this is another way that people show how they can be relevant for your job. And right now, this is not coming across. Now, the obvious question would be, so how do we make this come across? So let us pick one at random. Managing cross-functional feature implementation, fostering collaboration amongst departments. To do what? As in, okay, if you managed cross-functional collaboration and therefore features were implemented, does it mean that the company managed to release faster? Does it mean that you have increased the user base because of the new features? Does it mean that user satisfaction went up higher? Any of those or others can work if you can show me the result. And then when you're getting asked about it in your resume or in the actual interview, tell me how this work was tied to the result. I'll believe you. So that's the piece that I'm missing. And we can do it for every single one of these bullets. Let me pause here. Guys, chime in.
I totally agree with you. This is what I was thinking when I saw it. No numbers at all, no results at all. I mean, we know that he did work, but what were the impact?
One thing that I've seen, and I think you touched on that, Gilad, with very short tenures, and I'm gonna go back to that story piece, right? Under 2 years, maybe it's okay, and it might be original thing and cultural thing as well. But if I see 3 or 4 consecutive roles which you could not hold your probation period, I have a huge question mark. I will probably not gonna continue reading anyways. But if you have managed, like if one managed to get me to read further, it might be a good place to explain why have you left that company, what happened there. Did you leave because maybe the company just went redundant, went bust, and that's okay. Maybe there was some of these roles are during COVID and you were furloughed, and that could be okay as well. A lot of missing information here. I agree with that.
So I'll touch on what you just said, and let me take an example from my own resume. There's a company on my resume that doesn't exist on my resume. As in, I worked at that company for 3.5 months. It didn't work out, and I no longer have it on my resume. Instead, I have a short gap of time on my resume.
Yeah.
And if people ask me about it, yes, I'm absolutely able to tell people about it. But it does add value to have it on my resume to show short tenure? No. I do have a different company that I've been at for 9 months, and I had a really, really relevant role. So I kept it on there. And I know that the question is going to come up of, wait, so why 9 months?
Mm.
And it was an extremely meaningful time for me, but there was a reason why I ended up choosing to leave at the timing that I did. And as long as I can stand behind it and articulate it extremely well without being defensive, absolutely have it on there if it adds value. But just make sure that the story makes sense, both the path and the specific choices that you made for each one of the stops on the path.
Absolutely. Guys, we have 4 more CVs to review and many awesome questions from the audience. So Gilad, what next do you want to say about this CV?
I think that, so there's a question that I have about the summary and the skills. Summary and skills are always interesting to me because the summary should show me what you can bring to the table. The skills usually need to align to what am I looking for in the job description online. By the way, this is where LinkedIn differs a lot from a CV. I don't know if people know this. On LinkedIn, you can have up to 50 skills. You know the number of skills you need to have on your LinkedIn? 50. No less than 50. Trust me, your PMs, you have more than 50 because people are looking for them in different formats. Product management leadership, product, etc. So make sure you're using the skills. Here, show me the skills that are most relevant for the roles you're applying for. If I need to use these platforms for this specific role, sure, show me that you have that skill. You don't need to learn. You can hit the ground running. Otherwise, not as important as the first thing you show on the resume. Maybe at the bottom, maybe, but it really depends. On the summary, again, what is hands-on Scrum ban experience? I've been doing product management for a while. Hands-on, I get. Scrum, I know. Scrum ban, I'm sorry, I don't. Might be just me. Here's me dating myself. But is this a term that everybody understands? Is it the first thing you want to show when I'm just touching your resume? Is this the differentiator? If the answer is yes, okay, I'm outdated, that's fine. I'm probably not the right audience for this. But if not, I would really try and understand, what do I want to put up there, and how does it rebrand yourself as the person who's going to come in and be successful at my company?
I love that. I love that. Guys, anything else to share before we are moving on to the next CV? I'll take this as a no. And now it's time to discuss another CV. This one is for the title of Group Product Manager. while the others we saw previously were for the job of product managers. This one is climbing up the ladder. And Nadav, you're the one to tell us, does this person does it the right way?
I think that's a good framing for that. But I actually want to add another point before I start, right? So we talked about, I think us three are based in 3 different locations. And I want to talk very quickly about the kind of cultural or regional aspects of CVs. So I'm based in London, and then UK CVs tend to be 2 to 3 pages. That's totally okay, especially for senior roles. A senior product managers would be totally fine to have a 2-page CV. I have seen people who took a step too far and probably reached around the 12 pages mark, and that I'm not going to read. But 2.5 pages is totally acceptable, especially at that level, right? And I kind of want to start with that because that person, like you said, Moriya, is no longer an IC. They're looking for a role that is up there. And when I approach that CV, the first thing I look at is actually, for me, it's actually, is this person experienced enough, right? Because they have used space in a slightly odd way. There's a kind of big frame on the page. There's lots of dividers. They're almost trying to hide things to me. And let's talk about that in a second. So that page, if that is just one page, should be really, really punchy, right? And explain how their experience is relevant to that leadership role. So we're moving here again from IC into a leadership role. And that's the prism I want to take when I look at that CV. So the first thing I would be looking for is how they have led product teams, how they've led other product managers, how they made sort of business decisions, and there's not so much of this on this profile. If you zoom in, let's kind of look at the timeline actually and see what they've done from bottom from the most kind of earlier roles to what they do today. So they started, and they have a nice 10 years product managers between 2011 and 2017. They've then had a bit of a career progression, and they moved into a VP product role. Nice, I like it. Something happened again, and they went into business consulting, and then they took a step back. So first question for me is this person have an issue with their career progression? Are they stepping backwards? And if so, I want to hear why. So that is the first question that comes to mind here. Now, if they move into that leadership position, and if you try, and I want to make sure that they know, and we all talked about results and KPIs. So the word KPI is mentioned 2 or 3 times on this file, but the only numbers are the years of employment. There is not a single figure that shows an actual achievement, a KPI that's been hit, a metric that was changed, and that's really concerning, right? So why is this person looking to move into such a senior role? What have they done? How can they prove? How can they back this up? That is my first challenge with this CV. And then I want to talk about a couple of other things. So we can't see, and I think, Gilad, you've touched on that earlier, we can't see the companies they worked for, but they have been at a VP product position and then had a short 2-year tenure as business consultant. Where is that from? I'm not familiar with it in that context. First point, it may be relevant, but if they were consulting around product, and that role is really relevant to their development as good product managers, as product leaders, right? It may be a place to give me a bit more and tell me who were they consulting, right? I don't even get a sense of industry that they've specialized in. I don't necessarily need the name of the clients, but what industry they worked on. again, kind of add a bit more color to that. And then I want to talk about leadership, right? So, and again, I'm going to go back to that lack of numbers and where it could add a lot more clarity to that. So as a senior product manager, let's go deeper into that most recent role. They lead a global agile team. How big is that team? How many folks are on your team? Is it just one team? Do you have multiple teams? When we go, same thing when we go into the VP product role. They've led, managed, cultivated, high-performing team of product managers. What I hear is, and apologies if that person is on the call, fluff. How many product managers have you led? Give me that figure. That one figure. Tell me that you have led 5 or 6 or 10 product managers. And immediately I have a much more impactful read of of that current role. So these are some things that kind of came to mind, kind of sprang to mind when I read that profile. What else should we say about it? I think there's a lot of output, and that is my main message to that person. Give me some of your outcomes, right? Let me see some of your achievements and not just your throughput.
Wise words.
Can I chime in on something? Let us zoom out again for 1 second, right? We were talking about the look and feel of this resume. To a certain extent, it looks kind of professionally done with the frame, looks organized, right? Now zoom in. Let us zoom in on the first 2 roles. I can tell you where some people would stop reading the resume and toss it in the pile of, I'm not looking at this resume right now, for the stupidest of reasons. Seriously, it's a stupid reason, guys, but it happens a lot. How many sentences here end with a period? How many don't? You guys are inconsistent. You guys are inconsistent on 2 fronts, actually. Some of the sentences don't end with a period, and some do, and your fonts are inconsistent. Don't use a sans serif font with a serif font on the same resume and the wrong sizes and the wrong spacing, because those things, if you want to look professional, you cannot allow yourself to have on your resume. Now, in a market that's an employees market and everybody's looking for employees, that might be fine. You'll be fine. Well, we're no longer at that market. We really aren't. So if I'm a recruiter and I'm looking for a reason to just get rid of another resume because I have 400 ones that I do need to review, you will get dinged on these stupid things that you shouldn't get dinged on, especially if you have invested the time to make your resume look professional.
I do want to add.
Do count. Yeah, Oshrit, go ahead.
No, I just want to support that. I usually don't pay attention to that, but I'm saying if I have a product that has UI and I'm looking at this product and I'm as product manager say, okay, so this part is longer than this part, this one is larger, this font is different, that's okay. I would never say that on my product, so why should I accept that on my resume?
Yeah.
Exactly.
CVs or resumes are the summary of our skills, or those that we claim to have in any way. This was fantastic, Gilad. Thank you very much. Now, here's the thing, guys. I'm going to challenge you. We have 5 minutes left. We have 3 resumes left, and we have tons of questions from the audience. But you are product managers, and you are the best mentors out there. So you know how to deal with challenges, and we're going to deal with this challenge right now. We are moving on to the next CV. This one is waiting for you, Oshrit, to share your thoughts with us. Let's do it quick.
Yeah, I'll do it really quick. So I'll say just 2 points to be very short on that. One is regarding the about. I think we mentioned that a lot before. This is a lot of fluffy word that doesn't say a lot. Highly motivated professional, thrives in fast spaces, team-based environment, proactively driving collaboration. This is a lot of soft skills that I think that product manager do need them, but where are the hard skills? Where are your accomplishment? Where are your skills that say you should take me as a product manager? You can be HR or admin or a technical writer or programmer with these skills exactly. So it needs to be very specific to product management, and it's not in the about section. One other thing that I wanted to mention is the technical skills mentioning on the side. This one was really catch my eyes, because you are not applying for a technical position. You maybe started as a technical person, you maybe started as a programmer or developer, and there is an added value for product manager that have a technical background. I know because I have it, and I know that recruiter a lot of time looking for this product manager that do have the technical knowledge and started as a programmer or developer and know how the system works. But I wouldn't put it here high on the resume list of all the technical skills that I'm not sure that product manager need to know or to have. This is not the most important thing that I would put out there.
Can I jump right in? I'm sorry, Oshrit. I have to touch
Sure.
upon this point. The tools mentioned here are tools, are not skills. The fact that you know how to open a Figma file does not make you into a designer. And that goes to mixed panel. It doesn't make you into a data analyst for the product management domain, and it doesn't make you into a better a product manager knowing SQL if you don't understand how to actually ask questions about the data that you store. Okay, so don't name drop things that you know from the industry. Show me how you use tools for the benefit of having these enablers to do your job. But it's not about knowing a tool or the fact that it exists. It's about finding your way doing that. And honestly, I don't mind if you use Excel for 50% of the work that you are doing at the office. Oshrit, you have the mic back.
And you can learn new tools if you, a lot of us can learn new tools very quick. So put that, say that you are a quick learner, that you jump into the water and can swim right away. This is important, but if you use this tool or another tool, and what if we don't use this tool? So I won't take you because you're using a different tool. That's not the way I think. And one last thing, I won't go through the full file because we don't have the time, but I do want to say that there are no numbers here. Again, no results. It does say, can you focus for a second, Moriya? It does say improve retail KPIs, improve functionality, management. But what was the numbers? How did you do it? What did you change? How did you move the needle? What happened there? You just put the title there, but what happened? So this is all I have to say here in the short time that I have.
Spot on. Thank you very much for keeping the words in context. And yes, Nadav, I can see that you want to add something. Nadav? I thought you were about to say something. But
I was not. No. I was not. I really liked everything. No.
That's perfect. Okay, so it's even better because now it's about the next CV. This one is to be mainly reviewed by you, Gilad, and I know you have things to share about it, so let's do that.
Awesome. Actually, good. You've done exactly what I wanted you to do, but I needed to show the very first line first. There you go. All right. Product manager with 4 years of experience. Now zoom out. Okay. Oh, thank you. 4 years of experience and you've got a 3-page resume? Wow, what the hell did you do in 4 years? That's the first question that came to mind. Now scroll down a little bit to the second page. Wait, 4 years of experience, but you started in 2007? Did you sit out and not do anything? What happened? That's 16 years. There's a huge mismatch on this resume between what the person is telling me in the summary and what the work they actually did is. Now, they've been a software developer. They've been in the industry. They've done work. Why not get the credit for it? If you're an industry veteran with 4 years experience as a PM, tell me that. That is okay. That is totally fine. But don't create those mismatches for me in my mind. So that's one. Number two, these experience pieces are way too long and they're not condensed, as in they could have fit on a single page by combining the achievements with the actual set of responsibilities. Now, this is where I would probably say I have a bias. I believe this is a resume that is originally from Israel because it's more typical for the type of resumes I've seen from Israel. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm guessing here.
We don't know.
This is not, however, a resume that would work in the US. That I can tell you for certain. And there are a few reasons. One, so Nadav talked about before, in the US, you don't go over 2 pages, even if you are extremely senior. I'm relatively experienced. I have 2 pages. I had to take things out of my resume in order to fit it on 2 pages. So this is too long for the US. The responsibilities and the achievements need to be merged. Now let us focus on this for 1 second because we do have numbers here. So let us just zoom in for 1 second. And under the achievements, great. If you did this type of work and you gave me those things, why do I need to read them separately from your responsibilities? If you've done a redesign project, okay, so I know that you can work through a redesign project. Of course, it means launching it in the market because a redesign doesn't work without launching it in the market. Don't tell me about it separately. Tell me about it as part of the joint experience and save me the ton of reading that you're giving me to do work on right now. And then, yes, we're missing. So I talked about it before. Let me touch on it again because it is critical. I don't see the company here. I know it's hidden. No, I don't see the company. I see the title here. Company should be the number one thing. Yes, there are the logos on there. They exist better, but still, you're making me do work that I want to see at a glance, and this is not what I'm getting. The emphasis should be on what you bring to the table and where you've done it so that I'll know that you've done it at a place that was successful. What was your title? Well, let me be blunt. At Meta, everybody who's not a director of product, their HR title is product manager, whether you've managed a team of 20 PMs or whether you've managed a tiny project as an IC3. So your title is going to say product manager in the system. They actually changed it about 6 months ago or 9 months ago. So the title doesn't matter as much as where did you do it and what did you actually do. And then Nadav called it out in the other resume. If you've managed 4 people, say that you've managed 4 people. There's a way to say it succinctly. I managed 2 PMs, 1 designer, and 1 data analyst. That's it. Done. And you have now told me that you know how to manage different personas in different conditions in structured companies, large companies, small companies, etc. That is the thing that needs to come across from resumes. Right now, there's so much to read on this resume that doesn't give me here's the person, the 30-second version. The licenses and certificates, I can read on your LinkedIn. It doesn't help me to see it on your resume. Skills, again, there's a debate on that one. I think skills are important if you can highlight something that's extremely relevant for the position you're applying to, which is the last point that I'll end on. there's a huge debate in the industry whether you're using a master resume and applying with one resume for all roles or tailoring your resume. I sit in the second camp to a certain extent, especially given this type of market. Since you're going to be tailoring yourself, there's a cool tool, and I believe there's somebody on this call that has done a full session on this, called ChatGPT for product managers.
I wonder who this person is. Yeah.
And yes, and with this tool, there's a cool option to say the following sentence. Here's a tidbit. I am put your title in, looking for my next role in this space. Here is my existing resume, and here is a job description that I want to apply for. Could you please help me and give me tips on how to tailor my resume for this specific role? Well, guess what it'll do? It'll take the exact skills that sit on the job description, see which ones match the ones you have, and tell you actually switch the order around. Put this one in if you actually have it. Take this one out. It's not as relevant. Move up the bullets and change what you're highlighting to show what's relevant for the company. That's something ChatGPT can do for you. If you're in the tailoring camp, just make sure there's a wealth of information on your master resume such that you can do the tailoring.
Absolutely. Loving everything that you mentioned. Nadav, what do you say? Are you ready?
Oh my God,
To
now I'm
close
going
the-
to have to squeeze it into 2.5 minutes. But I'm glad I'm last because I'm actually going to be fairly positive on this one.
I trust your ability to do this one, and let's do that.
Yeah,
Are you
so,
saying
so
we
this
weren't
person,
positive? We were Israeli positive. That's as positive as it gets.
as positive as it gets.
The war is on fire, but we'll get you to have a really good CV.
There you go.
I actually like this profile. The reason I like this profile, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the content, is what this CV shows is a very clear career progression, right? If you scroll down to the end of the first page, Moriya, that person's been a software engineer. They then moved to product management. They then moved into a senior product management, another senior role. They're looking for the next career growth. And that's very linear. It makes a lot of sense to me. I love it. That's first kind of thumbs up for me. I'm now going to continue reading, right? That person is consistent. They know what they're doing. I love it. The thing that I found a little bit challenging, right, and I promise to be fairly positive, right, is, I guess, twofold. First is in my opinion, they don't celebrate enough the fact that they come from pure software engineering background, right? Many of us product managers I personally don't come from a software engineering background. It's been a struggle for the last 15 years. But if this person comes, they approach the market with a fairly strong currency, which I would probably use and stress a lot more on my CV. The other thing that I liked is we talked earlier about signposting and kind of drawing my attention to the places where it's more needed or kind of most needed. So this person did not mention the skills, but they have done a pretty good job of highlighting the skills and we're in context, right? So each and every sentence here have a couple of words they highlighted. I'm going to try and read straight out. They've been crafting requirements, sizing features. They increased product sales by 10%. That's the kind of most recent role. It makes a lot of sense to me. There's a big story there. What I slightly dislike about it is that they probably didn't do a great job of prioritizing the information. And the reason I said that, there's 4 bullet points, but effectively there's 8 or 10 different bullet points hidden within these bullet points, right? So every stop is a place for a new sentence to start, and I'm not interested in that, right? If you told me that you've increased product sales by 10% and reduced bugs by 50%, stop there. Why do you then introduce your work with marketing? That's out of context. It's irrelevant. You didn't want to add another bullet. it's either in your CV and then it's properly there, or it's not. Don't just fill these gaps. That would be my advice to that person. And with a fairly strong CV, I would recommend find a designer friend and ask them to spend 2 hours on kind of removing the bold text from the top, kind of finding a bit more consistency in how that page looks. The content is great.
The coloring.
The coloring, the font size, the weird bullets at the point. So I read that CV because I prepared for that conversation. In reality, there's actually a fairly good chance that I would skip it altogether on the grounds of very challenging visual formatting. I might have skipped that altogether unless someone introduced that person to me. It's hard to read. Once you read, the content is great, career progression is good, metrics, KPIs are there. Just make it a bit easier on the eye.
Can I even strengthen Nadav's case for 1 second, really quickly? You have a wealth of really good stuff on this resume, like Nadav said. But the glance is the piece that we're missing. Yes, I like the fact that you at least use the bold facing in order to call out some of the results. But just 5-6 sentence paragraphs. Again, ChatGPT. Go to ChatGPT, tell it, I'm writing this resume for a PM job. Help me make this sentence more concise without losing the spirit behind it. That's the actual sentence you can use there. It'll do just that. It'll give you the 3 sentence summary and end on the high. This person, I think, feels like they need to describe, here's how I took every single step along the way. And on the important one, again, you're not telling your story. That's what you're doing in the interview. You're telling why I should talk to you because you're successful. So end on the high. That'll bring out the good stuff you have on your resume and make us want to read it.
I love that. I love everything that you guys mentioned. Nir is jumping right in with a reference to your ChatGPT idea. Gilad saying, actually, it's better with the mom test. I asked him why I will not be selected to the job, and I fix these points accordingly. I love it. Guys, I think that just by reviewing these 6 CVs, these 6 resumes, the audience, the leaguers out there are ready, but we have really cool questions coming up from the audience. So we're going to get the audience the answers that they're looking for, but we're going to do it very, very first. The first one comes from Alina, and she's asking how important it is to stick to one page, adding a little bit about yourself and about what the product or company, if not well-known, does. And it's easy to exceed 1 page and sometimes even 2. What do you guys say?
In the US, no more than 2. Yes, it's okay to have some stuff about the company. Depends on how much of a tenure you have. If you have 2 years of tenure, it can't be a 2-page resume. If you have 15 years of tenure, it probably is likely to be a 2-page resume.
Exactly. You need to have a good reason to have longer resume. And if you're really a junior, you don't need to have more than 1 page.
And this brings us to the next question. Coming from Yaron, asking how to leverage experience in resume. That means how to mitigate the effect of a long, successful career because of age. How do you bring your age into your resume in like the right way?
I'm not sure about the wording or the phrasing here, but if you're trying to squeeze 40 years of experience right into your CV, I don't think I care that much if you've done everything you've done before 2010, 2012. Feel free to bucket for me as a whole section of like previous roles, put it out there, company, title, tenure. I don't need to know much more than that.
Exactly. What relevance? The relevancy, the last position that you made.
Show us that as a product manager, you know how to prioritize things.
One quick exception for that, if your Army experience, specifically for Israel, if your Army experience is outside of those dates, still have it on there just because it's a specific thing that's relevant for Israelis.
Post it only if it really is something that is
Yeah,
relevant.
yeah. If it's relevant, still put it on there. It's almost as if it's education in the US. Even if it's a long time ago, they want to see the brand name. That's why you should continue having it in there. I know it applies to other cultures in other contexts than the art. So if there's a specific experience that's more of a brand name that you want to show you've gone through, even if it's outside of those dates, yes, absolutely put it on there. You don't need a full blurb on it. Just make sure that the brand pops up.
Fantastic. Barak is here saying, guys, you're so funny. Thanks so much, Barak. Love your energy, and especially this time of the day. And he's here with his question asking, my challenge is how do I quantify my resume into measurable results? So this is the big question. Okay, so guys, please, no more than 10 words per reply, but go ahead. The challenge is here.
Go ahead, Gilad, start. But 10 words.
10 words, Gilad.
You get measured on hitting your KPIs. Put them on your resume.
Bunch of stickers is my advice. Write them separately, just your success, the measurable results on a bunch of stickers, and figure out what you bring into your CV.
This is a really good suggestion. I love this one. Thank you very much, Nadav. Ella is here with, so what a person should do if they really work short in each role?
They have to put it in the CV, right? They don't need to lie about it. They just need to know how to explain that, or even in the CV itself, tell the story. What happened? What are you looking for now? What are you focusing on after you did a very short period in different companies? Are you looking now for much longer period in the next challenge? Just give it a reasoning so people will know what happened there.
And feel free to skip one if it has nothing to do with the story that you try to sell to the person who is now screening your CV. Don't be afraid of doing that. Kirti is here asking, I'm getting a lot of rejections everywhere because I have less work experience compared to others. How much weightage is given to work experience, and could that be the main reason for rejection? May I reply this one?
Of course.
Unfortunately, when we hire people or when we are looking to expand our teams, you can divide the opportunities into, we want to recognize great brains and great hearts out there, and we want to bring them on our team and train them. And the majority of times when we just need people who know, well, at least a big portion of the job that we need to get done. So whenever it is about people that needs to get the job done, unfortunately, it goes back to your experience and how you show us that you can start and bring value to the team and to the company on day one. Think about how you can bring value to the company on day one, even though you have less of experience, and try to sell your passion in a way that gives someone the inspiration to give you the chance that you're looking for, even if you don't have this experience. Anything to add, guys? Because we're running out of time. Okay. Audrey saying the devil is in the details, and is it realistic to put numbers to every achievement? Is it okay to estimate numbers? And this is going to be the closing question for us today.
So two different ones. Do you need to put numbers to every achievement? Well, here's a question. Did you actually achieve something? It doesn't have to be a number, but did you actually achieve it? If it's not an achievement, shouldn't be on the resume. Does it have to have a number? No, the achievement can be upgrading the rating from a B rating to an A rating. No number in that one, but that's an achievement. Great. So
think about it. First in the market.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Achievement, yes. Otherwise, no. Is it okay to estimate numbers? Yes, as long as you can back it up, and if somebody puts it to the actual test, then those would be the numbers. If you're saying between 6 and 7% and it ended up being 5, okay, you're fine. If you're saying 50% growth and the company hit 15% growth, well, you misestimated the numbers.
Yeah.
I love what you guys mentioned with us. Thank you for all the wisdom and all the know-how that you shared. Gilad, Turbahn, Oshrit, Yaron, Nadav, Mordechai, you are the league. You are the product mentors behind our league, and we are so, so happy to have the opportunity to bring your wisdom to the audience. Guys, follow up on the tips, on the tricks, all the action items that were shared with you today, and write the best product management CVs out there. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Gilad, Oshrit, and Nadav, thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.